Every great adventure begins with a loss, and for one very determined dog named Kodi, the loss came on a perfectly ordinary Tuesday morning, in the form of silence. It started, as most things do, with the toy. The toy was a small, slightly chewed, undeniably beloved rubber duck, bright yellow, worn soft on one side from years of faithful companionship, and equipped with what Kodi considered the single greatest feature in the entire known universe, the squeak. One gentle chomp and the whole world lit up. That little burst of sound was, to Kodi, something close to magic. It meant playtime. It meant joy. It meant that everything in life was, at least for that moment, exactly as it should be. But on that Tuesday morning, Kodi pressed down on the duck with great confidence and great anticipation, and what came back was absolutely nothing. Not a squeak, not a whisper, not even a polite little wheeze, just silence. And Kodi sat with the duck in his mouth for a long moment, deeply confused, then tried again. Nothing. He tried a third time. Harder. Still nothing. The duck, it seemed, had lost its voice entirely. Now, most creatures might have set the toy down and moved on to breakfast, but Kodi was not most creatures. Kodi stared at that duck with the focused intensity of someone who has just discovered a problem worth solving, and in his heart, a quest was born. He nosed the duck toward the back door, because somewhere in the deep instinctive wisdom of Kodi's soul, he understood one thing clearly. The squeak had to be somewhere. Things like that don't just disappear. They go somewhere, and he was going to find it. The backyard, on a dewy morning in early spring, is a different world entirely when you are low to the ground and paying close attention. The grass had grown tall near the fence line, and as Kodi pushed into it, ears forward, the whole world narrowed into a corridor of green and shadow. This was no longer just a backyard. This was a jungle, dense and mysterious, full of rustling sounds and secret paths. He moved carefully, the duck clenched gently in his jaw, his nose sweeping the ground for clues. He didn't know exactly what a magic squeak would smell like, but he figured he'd know it when he found it. He investigated the garden bed where the tomatoes grew, reasoning that something small and important might have rolled in among the roots. He examined the corner by the shed, where old flower pots sat in a crooked stack, and beetles moved slowly through the dirt. He even checked under the porch steps, pressing his face into the cool shadow beneath the wood and breathing in the particular smell of old earth and mystery. Nothing yet, but Kodi was not discouraged. Great adventurers rarely find what they're looking for on the first try, and Kodi understood this in the way that all dogs understand important things, not with words, but with absolute certainty. Back inside, the quest continued, and inside there were new challenges entirely. The living room was a landscape of soft hills and hidden valleys, the couch cushions piled in their usual comfortable chaos, the throw blanket trailing off the armchair like a waterfall. Kodi moved through it all with purpose, ducking under the coffee table, circling the dog bed, sniffing along the baseboard with the methodical dedication of someone who is not in a hurry, but is absolutely not going to stop. The magic squeak was here somewhere. He could feel it. Then he reached the hallway, and there it was, the dragon. The vacuum cleaner sat where it always sat when it wasn't being wielded, hulking, and still in the corner near the closet, its long gray hose coiled at its side, its single dark eye staring blankly at the wall. Kodi stopped. He looked at the vacuum. He looked at the duck. He looked at the vacuum again. This was clearly a guardian. This was the thing standing between a brave dog and the thing he sought. Every good quest has one. He approached slowly, low and cautious, his nails making the softest possible sound against the floor. He circled it at a careful distance, watching for movement. None came. He edged a little closer, nose working, tail absolutely still. The vacuum smelled of dust and electricity and something vaguely threatening. Kodi sat down in front of it and regarded it for a long, serious moment. Then, with tremendous bravery, he pressed his nose against the side of it, determined to show the dragon that he was not afraid. The vacuum stayed quiet. The dragon had been faced, and Kodi moved on. He searched the bathroom. He searched the bedroom. He nosed along the kitchen floor and found 3 crumbs and 1 forgotten piece of kibble, which he ate, because calories are important on a quest. But still no magic Squeak. It was late afternoon when Kodi finally padded back to his dog bed, the yellow duck still with him. He turned in the 3 slow circles that always preceded lying down, and settled with the duck tucked under his chin. He pressed it gently 1 more time, out of habit more than hope. Silence. And then something shifted. Not in the toy. In Kodi. He looked at the duck, really looked at it, and something in his eyes softened. He remembered the first time he'd ever carried it across a room just to show someone. He remembered the way it felt in his mouth, familiar and right, like a thing that had always belonged to him. He remembered every morning it had been there when he woke up. The squeak was gone. The duck was still the duck. He settled his chin back down over it, and his tail gave 1 slow, quiet thump against the bed. Here is what Kodi knew. In the way dogs always know the important things, the toy hadn't changed. It was still soft in the same place. It still smelled like home. The value was never really in the noise. It was in everything else that had been there all along, quiet and constant, waiting to be noticed. Some things don't need to be perfect to be precious. Some things just need to be yours. And Kodi closed his eyes and slept and dreamed of jungles and dragons and Tuesday mornings, the little yellow duck safe beside him where it had always been.